Hello, and thank you for sharing your time with me here today. I'm going to be creating a scrapbooking page using Scrap and Fun Kit's May kit. This is the layout I'll be making today. It's a photo taken at my nephew's wedding in 2013. I have done an unboxing video for the kit and I'll put a link to that in the description box below so you can see exactly what came in the kit. But here I'm showing you the photo that I'm going to be using, the papers that I've pulled out of my stash to go with the kit, plus what I plan on using from the kit. To create some texture in the background, I'm using this stencil from Craft called Damask, and I'm using my modelling paste which dries white when it's dry. Just using my palette knife, I'm putting the texture paste through the stencil just randomly. I don't plan on covering the whole page, and as you can see the stencil's not quite as big as a page, so I do have to move it around to get the paste where I want it. You have to be fairly careful when you do this. Once I've finished this process, I set this aside to dry while I go and wash my stencil. My texture paste is dry now, and I've put my paper inside of an old pizza box, and I'm going to use Dylusion's ink spray in squeezed orange to add some colour to the papers. Now I'm going to spray first of all with water so that when I add the spray it's going to help it run down the page. When I first start to do this, I try spraying it, but the nozzle is blocked, so I use a brush to apply the colour. There's no scientific way of doing this. I just apply the colour to the top of the page, then add some water and let it run down the page, tipping the paper as I go. Then when I think I need some more colour, I just add some more spray. I've set that aside, and while I'm waiting for it to dry, I'm going to start work on the layers for the background. I'm going to have an orange frame around the whole layout, so I'm cutting a 1-inch frame out of this 12 by 12 piece of paper. That way, if I need some paper the same colour as what's on the frame, I've got the centre of this piece to use. I'm going to mat my photo on this red cardstock. My photo measures 8 inches by 6 inches, so I'm cutting my photo mat 6 1/4 inches by 8 1/4 inches. To help the photo stand out from the photo mat, I'm going to use an emery board and file around the edge of the photo. This gives it a fine white border and just helps to highlight the photo. It was at this point that I decided that I wanted something between the photo and the red, so I'm cutting a black mat to go between the two. So I'm cutting this one at 6 1/8 by 8 1/8. So that there's going to be a very fine frame around the photo of black and a very fine red. To tie that black mat into the rest of the layout, I decide to put a fine black border around the actual white page that I've done with the texture paste, and between it and the orange of the background sheet. So I cut that so that it measures 1/8 of an inch bigger than the white one with the texture paste on it. I then cut a 1-inch frame with that black cardstock, so that I've got an orange border, a fine black border, and then the actual background page. I took my assembled background to my sewing machine and stitched around the edge just as a bit more decoration. I'm going to start using the paper from the kit to create some layers to go behind my photo. I'm cutting this piece of paper because I wanted to have the red spots showing above and below the photo. So I'm cutting it into sections so that I can place some above and some below. You'll see me now playing around with papers and embellishments, trying to decide exactly how I'm going to finish this layout, what I'm going to actually do with it. I did not have a preconceived idea of what this layout was going to look like before I started, so I'm just ad-libbing at the moment, trying a few different things. I decided to use the baker's twine from the kit and wrap that around the bottom of the photo, so I wrapped it around a couple of times and then tied a knot. I secured it at the back of the photo with some double-sided tape. You'll see in the finished layout I do end up turning that into a bow. I felt that that lime greeny yellowy piece of cardstock was too short, so I cut a piece that was 12 inches long by about 1.5 inches, I think, and I was more happy with that. I do end up cutting that down to about 10.5 inches and fishtailing each end, but I was very happy then with the look of that. I use this piece of orange cardstock. I cut a strip of that that's about 1 inch, I think, or 3/4 of an inch, something like that. I then use a Martha Stewart punch to punch one edge, just to add a little bit more detail to the layout. I've cut 2 thin pieces of red cardstock to put above and below the pattern paper that goes behind the photo, just as an added layer. When I stick them down, I leave about 1/4 of an inch of the red showing. I thought I'd go with this layout with the felt heart, the 2 roses. Using scan and cut canvas, I created the file for the word family. I created the letters and then a shadow for them to sit on. I cut the shadow in black and the letters in orange. Now the job is to assemble my layout. I'm going to attach everything with double-sided tape. Sorry that my head gets in the way here, but I wanted to line it up so that it was straight. I've allowed about 1/4 of an inch there for both the top and the bottom. I've attached some pieces of cardboard box to the back of my photo using my hot glue gun. Instead of using foam tape, I found that the cardboard is more solid and the photo does not bend or warp. had always thought that I'd put the title under the photo in the middle, but when it came time to stick it down, I thought I'd just play around with a few different positionings for it, and I ended up deciding that I wanted to have it down here on the bottom left hand corner of the layout. I wanted to have more of the pattern paper, the red and orange pattern paper showing. I decided to add a little bit of bling to my layout, so I used these small rhinestones to add a bit of bling to the heart. The heart's got little holes in it, so I thought that I would add a gem to each one of those holes. This actually turned out to be a bit of a chore, as getting those little gems to stick. I used glue to help them stay in place, but they kept sticking to my fingers and were very difficult to manoeuvre. So that completes the layout for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. The kit from Scrapping Fun Kits was very easy to use, and I would recommend, if you're interested in getting a kit, check it out. I will put a link in the description below, so if you're interested you can click on that and find out all the details. Thank you for looking at my video today. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I would love it if you would subscribe and click the button next to the subscribe button so that you'll be notified each time I create a new video. Also, if you want to share this with your friends, I would appreciate it. Thank you.